our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
For the next 90 minutes, your mind shall become engaged with minds that are very much like your own. Join Paul Cagle, Sushi and Spring Wolf as they discuss various topics and people that we all have questions about. You're taking part in the Enigma Project.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Enigma Project. My name is Paul Cagle and tonight we will be participating in our May Freeform show and playing Truth or Tale. But first I would like to introduce my cohorts in this madness, Spring Wolf.
Hello.
And Sushi.
Hey everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, work.
Work.
Oh, work.
Oh, work.
Anybody know any good AP clerks? I'm hiring.
No. Not off the top of my head.
All right. Oh, well.
I'm just sitting here waiting for the thunderstorm to come.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. We did pass through here, and it wasn't very loud, but it was very, very heavy rain.
It just rained here. It didn't. We didn't have a lot of thunderstorm or anything.
Just poured. Ugh. Downtown anyway, where I was. So yeah, crazy.
We actually sat out on the back porch and had dinner.
Wow.
What is
Sounds
that
nice.
noise?
Oh, sorry. I shifted in my chair. I'm sorry.
It sounded like something quacking. I
It
was
went,
like, something quacking at me. Oh, girl, I'm getting EVP. Either that or having a stroke. Not sure which. Could be either.
Hey, did you hear that EVP I found?
No.
Look at my notes.
No, I haven't.
My last investigation.
Wait, did you upload it?
No, it was the one I was assigned. It's already uploaded.
Oh.
I just sent you my notes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we've got some we need to go over. We need to finish all the data because she texted me today, and I'm like, nope, we still need to decide what's what.
Well, out of 2 hours, there was like one little one, but maybe.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. Anyway.
So is this an investigation you all recently went on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last two Fridays ago, I think, something like that. Yeah. And I'm messing with the sound over here, so people out there, if our sound is messed up, let us know.
You got all quiet again.
Remember, if you don't let us know, you will be punished later.
Yeah,
And
you sound good there.
That's
well,
better.
I think I'm louder than you guys are, so
All right, well.
I don't know. This sound is so messed up, and I'm so tired of dealing with it that I'm about to throw the whole thing out the window. So if you hear a loud crash, you'll know what it is. But anyway, before we get this madness started, I want to remind everyone to check out our blog at enigmaproject.com. You can check out shows that we've got coming up. You can check out previous shows that we've had on. And you can send us questions or comments for the show. Or you can either email them to email me at paul@enigmaproject.com or call the hotline at 423-521-2930. Don't forget to check out Spring's blog at springwolf.net. And please help spread the word about the show. Next week's show, last week I gave you the wrong show information because we were doing a freeform show, not astrology from around the world. That will be next week's show. So, yeah.
No, next week you wanted to talk about...
Oh, that's right. I changed it.
Next week's show, the 9th, is Ghost Brothers.
That's right. Because,
And
we'll talk about the reason why in a minute.
and then we're going to talk about Men in Black, and then astrology. And on the 30th will be astral projection, out-of-body experiences, and near-death experiences.
Ooh.
Yep. Don't ask me what got that stuck in my head. But that was one I wanted to do. I sent a message saying, hey, I want to do this topic. And Spring was like, as one topic or multiple topics? I was like, one topic. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be easier to do all three of them as one topic.
Right. And so we'll be doing that in a couple of weeks. But next week we're going to be talking about Ghost Brothers. And we'll talk about why in a minute. But if you missed last week's show,
Aired. Can we talk about it now?
Well,
How's-
no, we can't.
have they
We can
started?
talk about it next week, but we can talk about why we want to talk about it in a minute.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
okay.
if you missed last week's show, it was on the Mothman, and that was a topic that was requested by Rick Jackal. He's a friend of the show, and so we did that show for him. And he also suggested Men in Black, so we'll be doing that one as well in the next couple of weeks. But if you were listening live to this right now via Twitter or something like that, then please join us in the chat room at www.enigmaproject.com/listen-live. And you can join us in the chat room, and you can chat with us and ask us questions, etc., etc., ad nauseum. Now, this is our freeform show, and basically, if you're not familiar with it, it's where we talk about whatever questions or comments that we've been sent, or we talk about whatever we want to if no one has sent us any comments for the show. And so, since I don't have any questions or comments for the show, we're going to talk about whatever I want to talk about.
I have a question.
So there.
You do have a question?
Yes, we did have a
Yay.
question.
Okay.
I get a Facebook message from one of our usual followers
Uh-huh.
who wishes to remain anonymous.
Unanimous?
Anonymous.
Unanimous.
Okay, let me guess who it is, and you tell me yes or no. Is it...
Just nod, Spring. Just nod.
Just nod. Just nod. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can places be haunted by animals or extinct species?
That is a very good question. We don't know. Thanks for asking. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. No. I personally believe that animals can haunt a place because I've heard of a lot of people saying that this or that animal passed away and it's come back to visit them, something like that. I don't know that I've ever dealt with a ghost animal personally. I don't know that I have or haven't. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I've had pets my whole life, mostly dogs. And, there will be times where I've gone to bed at nighttime and it feels like a dog has jumped up on the bed. But then when you feel around to see, what animal that was, there's nothing there. So I think if they can come visit you in spirit, I don't see why they can't hang around a place if somebody moves or somebody dies and they're left there alone. I don't see why not. I think the more interesting part to her question is, can an extinct species haunt a place?
I think that would be possible, but we did a whole show on why I think that there are no extinct species around as far as ghosts go, but that's a whole nother story. I personally believe...
Why don't you just recap that real quick?
Well, I personally believe that it has something to do with the electromagnetic field of the Earth, that it acts as a buffer to insulate spirits or ghosts and keep them on the earthly plane when the every 100,000 years, I think it is, the North Pole and South Pole flip positions, and the electromagnetic, south becomes north, north becomes south, and I believe that clears the electromagnetic field out, and it's like clearing a hard drive, like taking a magnet to a hard drive and deleting everything off of it. And I believe that that's why we don't see a lot of cavemen ghosts or ghosts of pterodactyls or something like that.
It would explain some cryptoids, that we hear about, is maybe they're seeing ghost dinosaurs or ghost.
That's interesting. I never really thought about that, but that's possible. But Spring, you have a different theory.
Well, I just saw, while you were talking about, the Earth switching poles, it popped into my head, what if the extinct species is from some other planet?
Now, that would be interesting, a haunting from, say, Mars, if it were ever populated. I wonder if that's even possible, though.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, that would be an interesting kind of, paradigm shift, I suppose. But, I I don't know. We don't see a lot or hear a lot of like paranormal ghost or paranormal cavemen or anything like that. You know,
You know, it would be interesting if we visited a place where cavemen were known to habitat
right,
and see if there was a haunting or something there versus in somebody's house.
right.
You know, I did a reading for somebody who said not long after her husband died that there was a young girl that was running around in her house. And what was interesting about it is that the place where she saw the little girl was on an addition that they made to the house after they had bought it. So it was only like a year old. But she kept seeing this little girl running around in the formal living room and back into her new bedroom. So we did a reading, and the little girl came and showed herself and told us that her family had lived on the property and that she was a Native American Indian and that she couldn't find her mom and dad. She didn't know where they went. So it was like she was stuck here on the earth plane, but the rest of her tribe or whatever had moved on. So after we did a little bit of research on the property that she owned, she found out that indeed there was a Native American settlement in like several of the lots that are around her. So it wasn't just her lot, but you know, the surrounding area.
Right. And that's cool. And something that's interesting, I think, to note is that when, you know, we're talking about Native American, or not Native American, but like cavemen ghosts and stuff like that, and how I say that people don't generally see pterodactyls because, to me, you know, the electromagnetic field changes and it cleans everything. There's a difference between seeing the spirit of a pterodactyl and the ghost of a pterodactyl. So
Yes,
people
I
can
would agree.
still have a spirit guide that is a pterodactyl and not see a ghost per se. So I think that's an interesting point to bring up in that conversation. Is that there could be a pterodactyl or even a cave person, I suppose, that is a spirit of some sort instead of a ghost. And Spring, do you want to tell them what the difference is?
A spirit is energy, like a person that has passed on to the spiritual plane, and usually if you see them in some kind of form, you see them from the torso up, because those are the chakra centers that go from lifetime to lifetime. If you see a ghost, you're seeing a form that you can see them from head to toe because they haven't let go of the physical chakras, which are the lower part of the body.
Now, see, everything that I've seen has always been usually full-bodied. I see from the feet up. If I see them, I see from the feet up. I don't just see like a torso or a head or anything like that. I usually see, like if I see something out of the corner of my eye and I turn and it's still there, it is a full-body whatever it is. And then,
Now, you were talking about pterodactyls as a spirit guide. We've talked about,
right.
you know, my pterodactyl spirit guide, which I'm not sure is really a pterodactyl or a dragon, but you know,
Oh, I like
I'll
dragon.
go either way.
Let's go dragon.
But anyway, when I see him, when he comes around, and I know it's a boy. When I see him, I don't see his feet. I don't think I've ever thought of that until now. I can see the wings, I can see the head and the
That's
body.
interesting.
I'm not sure I remember seeing a tail.
Sushi,
That's interesting. I've never thought of it.
Sushi, what is your thoughts? Your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I've never encountered, or I guess I've heard stories of animals, but I haven't heard like extinct creatures haunting people or anyone other than Spring. You were the first person I've ever heard that has pterodactyls in her backyard. Yes.
We see. I believe that when a spirit
Pterodactyls in the
comes
backyard.
to work with you, when a spirit is your spirit guide or a spirit animal, the energy of that being appears to the person in a form that they will connect with or recognize. If you think about how many lifetimes, if you believe in reincarnation, if you think about how many lifetimes we've all had, if we're going to be someone's spirit guide, we might appear to that person in the form of, a Chinese monk.
I don't know if I want to be someone's
Native
spirit
American,
guide.
but you're going to appear to them in something that they're going to recognize and feel comfortable with.
If
Evidently, I like pterodactyls.
If I am someone's spirit guide, they are in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. But getting back to the whole north-south poles shifting, it's supposed to happen every, I think, 100,000 years. We are like 230 years without a shift. So they're saying, could happen at any time. Now, I don't know what it's going to do to the Earth. If it happens, it could just north and south change. All of our GPSs are crap. Or it could kill us all. I don't know. But there's that to look forward to, so you're welcome. Welcome to the Enigma Project. All right, so...
according to NASA, the pole reversals happen all the geological time.
I thought she was going to say something else.
All the geological time.
Yeah. Well, no, they said that there's supposed to be a major shift, like every 100,000 years, where now north becomes south,
So
and it's not exact.
They've already shifted a little bit, and they're
Yes.
blaming global warming. At least here on the Scientific American webpage, global warming is changing the locations of Earth's geographical poles, according to a new study in
It shifts every
Geophysical
year.
Research Letters.
It shifts every year by like centimeters or feet or whatever, but it's supposed to, like, every so often, it's supposed to be like a major north-south change, and it's not exact. The exact South Pole does not become the exact North Pole. It
So
just
North Pole
moves.
is now moving east.
Yeah, see?
Okay. According to NASA, reversals are the rule, not the exception. Earth has settled in the last 20 million years into a pattern of a pole reversal about every 200 to 300,000
That's
years.
good. Because the last information I saw did not say that. It said,
Although it has been more than twice that long
Yeah.
since the last reversal.
so maybe we're good. I hope so.
I mean, you just kind of wonder, does it happen slowly? Like, is it centimeter by centimeter, and then all of a sudden, or does it just bam, all of a sudden switch? I'm curious.
I don't 100% remember, but the stuff that I read from what I remember was like shift, 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 bam. Okay, now north is south and south is north. So I don't know. Well, we would have to look more into it. It was just something we did a show on many months ago, and that I found interesting and found some information on, and thought, I wonder if this is why the pterodactyl ghosts go away or whatever. But I want to talk a little bit about Ghost Brothers. And the reason why is because Sushi and I actually got to go do an episode with the Ghost Brothers a couple of months ago. I don't know if you guys remember us talking about it. We haven't been able to talk about it much, and we still can't until the episode airs. But we got contacted several months ago by a producer from Pilgrim Media, who is they're the people that do Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International and a lot of Destination America ghost hunting shows. And they were interested in having us come and investigate with their three co-stars. And the reason why was because it was aboard the Delta Queen, and we had investigated there before. Now, if you guys haven't listened to the Steps of Paranormal podcast for a long time, you might remember us actually doing a podcast from the boat itself when it was here in Chattanooga. But someone bought it, and it got moved, and they moved it to Yuma, Louisiana, to repair it. And Ghost Brothers had contacted them and said, hey, we want to do an episode there. And they said, okay, well, you've got a week, and you've got this week. So they contacted us. When they first contacted me, it was like on a Thursday, and they're like, can you come down Saturday? And I was like, if I can get someone to drive me down there. My car's not going to make it. And at first they just wanted the story. They just wanted me to tell the story. He's like, oh, well, if you could do it, you could do it aboard, could do it over Skype if you need to. And I said, all right, that's a doable thing. I have Skype, I have a good video camera. We could do that. Then he calls me back an hour later and he says, no, we want you to investigate with our team. And I was like, okay. He's like, but it's moved to Thursday. Wasn't it Thursday? Thursday
yeah,
night?
It was something like in the middle of the week.
Yeah, it was like Wednesday, Thursday, something like
obnoxious,
that.
Yeah.
So, after much back and forth, they finally agreed that Sushi and I could do the episode. And, oh my God, it was a back and forth. It was, well, we want to talk to everybody that you want to bring with you. And I was like, well, you have three options. Me, Sushi, and Lee. We're the only three that's still with the group that were there. It's us or nobody. And they're like, well, I want to talk to the whole group. And I said, you're going to talk to Sushi, Lee, or myself, because we were the only three that were there. You're not talking to anyone else. They weren't on the episode. They weren't there. And so finally they understood, and they're like, okay, fine, let me talk to Sushi. So the producer called Sushi. They talked for a few minutes, and then I got a call back from him. He said, bring her. And I was like, no, she's bringing me. So
So her car runs.
We hopped in her car, and we drove 13 hours to humid Louisiana, let me say, and got out. And on the way down there, I had jokingly looked at Sushi and said, it would make a really great ghost hunting show? An all-black ghost hunting team. And she's like, you're right, There's not a black ghost hunting team. And when we got there, because nobody told us what was going on. Nobody said, oh, by the way, it's an all-black group. It's this, it's that, it's guys, it's Southerners. Nothing. Told us nothing.
You say Ghost Brothers. My image in my head was a couple of good old boys from the South with a pickup truck, all their equipment stashed, covered up with a tarp. That was my image.
Right, that's what I was thinking they were actually brothers, not brothers, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I'm so getting sued. But we get there, and we're standing aboard the boat, and there's like no air conditioning and no electricity. And we're like, oh, it's nice to be back on the Delta Queen. And in walk these three black guys. And Sushi Turra looked at me, and she said, you called it. You were right. And we didn't even have to say. We were just like, yep. I don't know why
excellent.
I said it on the way down here.
I was like, how awesome is this?
Yeah.
This is
and
awesome.
they were great guys. They were really nice. And,
Do you know what the name of your episode is?
The Delta Queen, I think.
Queen.
I think that's what it is.
It airs May the 6th at 10 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. Eastern, yeah.
This week.
So
I'm terrified, Paul.
Oh, so am I. Because at one point in time, we were sitting there recording, and they're like, so tell us a little bit about yourself. And we're like, well, we're from Chattanooga, Tennessee, blah, 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 blah. And we had to do these things multiple times because they wanted different shots, and from this angle and from that angle and with the group and separately. And it was so hot aboard the boat that they were bringing us wads of paper towels. The production staff was bringing us wads of paper towels to wipe off with. And so at one point in time, I'm talking, I'm gesturing, and I realize I've got a huge wad of sweat-soaked paper towels clenched in my left hand. I'm like, well, Marcus, thanks for asking. And I'm slowly putting my hand behind my back so that you don't see this big wad of paper towels that I'm just gripping, got a death grip on so I can wipe my face off when they say cut. But I kind of hope they keep that part in there. But,
That's funny.
They had told me when the guy from Pilgrim Media had contacted me, he said, Paul, I chose you for a reason. We like your personality. Just go be you. This is the last thing he said before I left. He said, go be you and just have fun. And I said, if I do that, the boat will be underwater when I'm done because it can get quite crazy around me. He said, don't sink our boat, but go have fun and be yourself. And so when we got there, Marcus, one of the guys, and I don't know if they'll show this part or not, but Marcus, one of the guys, was introducing us. He said, this is, what are their names? Jawan, Dalen, and Marcus. He said, this is Jawan, he's this is Dalen, he's this. I'm Marcus, I'm the funny one. I said, well, you were, but I'm here now. And he's like, oh, we got one of them on board. I said, yeah, one of them. And the funniest part of it all was they thought Sushi and I were a couple. And they kept saying, well, you two.
Aren't you all just cute?
I know.
We're just cute as a button.
And they were like, well, you two are a couple. We're like, no, we're not. And they kept, what was it? They kept saying stuff like, they would say something like, well, you two ghost hunt together. You're a couple. We're like, well, we ghost hunt together. And then later Marcus said, he goes, are you two a couple? We're like, no, Sushi's married. He goes, oh, well, Sushi's husband must really trust Paul. And we just looked at each other and laughed. She's like, oh, yeah, he has nothing to worry about with Paul. Nothing to worry about. And we, Marcus never said anything. We didn't, elaborate on that statement. But it was so funny. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And Sushi decided after that she didn't want her own TV show.
Ever. Ever.
I would do it in a heartbeat. Although I will say, we drove 13 hours down there. We got out. We did our intros. They had got us hotel rooms. And so Sushi was like, I've got to go change. I've been sitting in the car for 13 hours. I need to freshen up. And they had another one of their friends come on the show as a guest investigator as well. And so while they were interviewing him, we took the mics off and we went to the hotel and changed clothes and everything. And, well, she changed clothes. I didn't. So she does a wardrobe change in the middle of the episode. Mm-hmm. And I don't. And then we kind of got something to drink. And I was like, Sushi, we need to go. We got to be back at 10:30.
They fed us. Yeah, they fed us down.
And we get back. And they had talked about there was an alligator out there somewhere. So they're filming the pulling up to the boat to investigate. And there's so many freaking mosquitoes outside that I'm waving my arms back and forth just kind of up and down to keep the mosquitoes off. And I'm literally slapping mosquitoes out of the air accidentally while trying to keep an eye out for the...
We were totally in the bayou. I mean...
I was trying to keep an eye out for the alligator because I could just see it sneaking up behind us and, killing one of us. And be like, on this episode, Paul and, Sushi. On this episode, Sushi. And, Paul got eaten by an alligator. He will no longer be with us. But, yeah, it was interesting. But, anyway, we drove 13 hours down there, had a wardrobe change for some diva, and then went back to the boat. We investigated for a couple of hours. And then at midnight, they called lunch. And we ate. And they're like, all right, guys, we're done. Thank you for coming. We're like, okay. And we left and went back to the hotel room, slept for a couple of hours, got up the next day, went to what am I trying to say? Where did we go, Sushi? New Orleans. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to go and eat at one of my restaurants for the company that I work for. And so I was like, no, we're stopping in New Orleans and we're hitting the casino.
And I'd never been there. So she drove me to the French Quarter, all 5 minutes of it. And I was like, these roads are very small and the walls are there's a casino. She said, yeah, we're done. That's it. And I was like, really? I thought there was more to the French Quarter. It was awesome, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't as much of it as I thought there was. So we went to the casino and gambled for a while. I actually won money, believe it or not. We played penny slots, so I think I won maybe $10, $9, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we went to the restaurant, ate, and then drove 13 hours back. I say drove. Sushi drove 13 hours back. I've never wanted out of a car as badly as I did that day.
It's horrible.
I was hallucinating by the time it was said and done because I didn't get that much sleep. I was keyed up after the investigation. I was wondering how the episode was going to go, this, that, and the other, and I couldn't sleep.
I'm terrified. I hope we don't look like complete idiots. I know. I'm just like terrified.
You'll look great. I'll look like the idiot.
No.
But that's what I do, I enjoy myself. But
I can't wait to see it. I know famous people.
Yeah, infamous people, maybe. But
so Paul, just know that their first episode drew 1 million viewers.
Oh, that does not make me nervous at all. Sushi, Why would I be nervous? Oh, God. Our careers are over. We won't even. They'll even take the show away from us. They'll be like, "You're not doing the Enigma Project
You're not
anymore.
doing a podcast.
You are
You're
a
done."
disgrace." No, but if you guys want to see what Sushi and I look like, you can watch that episode.
Yep.
I don't know how much will be on it, but it'll be entertaining. I will say that something happened there. I won't say
Yes.
what. We won't talk about that until next Monday. Which is why that's going to be our topic, is Ghost Brothers, specifically the Delta Queen, and our investigation there. And we'll talk a little bit about that and a behind-the-scenes kind of what happened with a certain somebody that rarely ever has any kind of ghostly experiences. That's all I'm going to say. And it'll be entertaining. So watch that episode. It's on Discovery America, whatever channel that is in your area. And it is the Delta Queen episode. And it comes on, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah, that's what I have Comcast Xfinity. So for me, it's going to be 10 o'clock on Friday night.
Yeah.
I would assume that's the way it is for everybody. I don't know.
So,
I don't know if they delay it. If it's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast, is it 10 o'clock on the West Coast?
No,
or is it going to be 7 o'clock on the West Coast?
It'll be 7 o'clock West Coast. They do everything. They keep everything
copacetic across the board?
Yeah, they keep everything at a certain time, and then it's 7 there, 8 Mountain, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha.
I was looking here. It just says it first airs May 6th, and the few things that I've seen that actually pertain to Sushi and myself on there say a couple who've had experiences aboard the boat investigate with our investigators, and that's all. It still calls us a couple. Yeah.
Well, bless your heart.
Bless your heart. That doesn't really give me a time, but it's Destination America. You guys can look it up. Ghost Brothers, Delta Queen, Destination America.
Yeah, what's hard for me to look it up, so somebody else can look it up.
Google's your friend.
Exactly.
Google's your friend. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I want my own TV show, just so you guys know. Yeah, it does say Fridays at 10 o'clock here as well, 9 Central. So whatever time that is, your time. 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, 7, whatever that is before that, 6 before that, 5 before that, 4 before that, 3 before. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, the guys were awesome. We had our picture made with them a couple of weeks ago. One of the production people texted me and said, "Hey, can you send us that picture that you took with you and the guys aboard the Delta Queen?" I was like, "Sure." They're like, "We want to use it for our production still or whatever." I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
I've not seen it, but I sent it to them. I'll tell you this right now. I look like I've been hit by a hurricane because I was so hot and sweaty that my hair looks like I just didn't even try. I mean, the picture of us aboard the Delta Queen with the guys, I look like a homeless person, that's standing with ghost hunters. So I don't know. But in my defense, it was really hot and sweaty.
Well, it does get hot down there.
Yes, it do.
Especially on a boat with no electricity to it. And no air
And
conditioning.
no windows to open.
Nope. It was all hot. Hot, hot, hot.
Jiminy crickets. You'd think they could at least get some fans.
Well, they didn't want to mess up the noise for EVP.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they didn't want to mess it up so that it made EVP difficult. Because we can tell you firsthand how difficult that is. Try investigating in a trailer with no insulation and cars going back and forth down the road 90 billion times. That was 2 weeks ago. But anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about that, Sushi?
Evil in the chat room says he would have gone full on Ghostbusters. He'd have showed up with a proton pack.
And we never would have been taken seriously ever again. No, it would have been funny though. It might have been worth it. That sounds like something I would do. But yeah. So watch that, guys, if you're interested in what we look like or how we investigate. Because we didn't take much of our equipment. They told us to bring whatever we wanted. We're like, yeah, like we're gonna have time for that crap. So I took my recorder and you took your iPad and used it, and you get to see sushi in action. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm nervous about it. I wasn't nervous when we did it, and they even said that. They were like, "Have you guys done TV before? You're not nervous at all." We're like, no, we do a live broadcast every Monday. We're used to screwing up and just being like, yep, that's part of it. You just do it and move on. And this wasn't even live, which was the good part. If we messed up, we could do it again. We could do a take 12 like we used to do on the podcast. But, we're used to doing live stuff, and we're used to, kind of knowing what we want to say before we say it. Because there were a couple of times where they're like, say that again. Hold on. I'm going to focus the camera on Sushi. Sushi, say what you said again. Mm-hmm. Now, Paul, say it again. And we would redo it, and they're like, I just hit the microphone. They're like, you guys are really good at this. And we're like, well, we're used to doing a live show. Or we used to do a podcast where we go, no, take two. Where was I? Okay, I'm going to start right here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say it like I said it for the first time. Yeah, that was really scary, Paul, because, so we kind of get used to it. And it was like, we're just like, we're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy ourselves. So. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they don't make us look too stupid. They got a lot to work with on my part.
I'm terrified. I'm going to look like a complete idiot. I'm just terrified. A million people, Paul.
We have thunder.
Huh?
Oh, here's
yeah, we got our storms coming. We got thunder. So that made me think of a question.
Okay.
Do you think paranormal activity may increase or decrease when a thunderstorm is about?
Now, I've wondered that before. Because there was one time that, for those of you who are new to the show or new to the Southeastern Paranormal Society and you don't know, when we first started out, one of the first places we ever went was the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Now it's on every ghost radar in the world because of TV shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and places like that. But we were the first ghost hunting group in there ever. Now, there is a guy running around saying his group was the first one in there. He is, what is the word, Sushi? A pathological liar. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
He also claims to be Lady Gaga's real father. So that just puts it into perspective for you what type of person we're dealing with. So our group was the first one in there, and we went many, many, many times. We know the doctor who owns it. We went many, many times without having to pay, without having to sign sheets, whatever, and just got in there. We had the keys. We'd give them back whenever we were done. We'd go in there during the day and talk to people. The guy who used to be the caretaker who passed away there, we used to know him. We would stop by and talk to him and just be like, hey, what's up? What's been going on? We went many times. One of the last times that we went before a professional group took over, and that's in big air quotes, it was storming so bad that they were calling for tornadoes, weren't they, Sushi? You were there that night,
They
weren't
were.
you?
I was there that night, yeah.
Yeah, and they were calling for tornadoes and like lightning, and it doesn't have power there anyway. So we weren't concerned about the power going out, really. But we didn't get any evidence at all at that point. Now, we didn't stay as long as we normally did because it started raining so hard and the ceiling was leaking, and we didn't want to get the equipment wet. So we didn't stay as long as we normally did. But it didn't... we didn't get any evidence that night at all. And it was a huge, huge storm because it was in April. And usually around April is our tornado weather. And so that's when it hits, and that's when it's the worst. And we got nothing. Sushi, have you ever seen a difference in storm versus non-storm?
No, I have not, but I've always heard the theory that the rain, or the paranormal activity is more active when it's raining, and whether that's charges the air or whatever.
Well, ionization,
I've always heard that. We've heard that theory before. So
Now,
but I've not noticed any.
I will
difference.
say this. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago when we had those huge tornadoes come through? And as a matter of fact, like 2 or 3 days ago was the anniversary of it. I was working from home that day, and I would listen to my iPad or my iPod all day long while I worked, and I worked from home, so I would not watch the weather. I didn't listen to the weather. I kept my television off. I did not know anything was going on. I was literally in my own little world. And we had a rule that if the power went off at your apartment or your house for more than an hour, you had to go into the office. So the power went out there. I realized it was storming really, really bad. I called my boss and I said, do I need to come in? And she said, no, you need to take cover. Do not come out of your apartment. You live in Red Bank. Take cover. There are tornadoes. And I was like, whatever. It's storming. It's not that bad. Then I realized it really was that bad. And so I go, and the only option, I lived on the 3rd floor at that point. The only option I have is to lay in bed because there was nowhere else for me to go. Power went out, nothing to do. I was playing games on my my cell phone, on my iPhone, but there was so much electricity and ionization in the air that my cell phone screen was reacting as if someone were touching it and nobody was touching it. Like, I was playing a Yahtzee game, it would roll by itself, it would like drop dice down into the hole that you wanted to keep it in, and you usually had to touch the one you wanted to drop down. It would throw it back up to the beginning, it would roll it again, it would drop them back down, and it would do it over and over by itself. That's how much ionization there was in the air. At one point in time, this is when I had the dog, and at one point in time, lightning struck so loud and so close to the house, to the apartment, that you could pretty much feel it. And when it hit, someone at the foot of my bed said, "Hey, I think," and then it was gone. And I could hear them just like I hear you guys on the show right now.
Wow.
My dog reacted to it, went to the bottom of the bed and started barking. I mean, like he was ready to come unglued. And I thought, oh, I guess my clock radio kicked, when the electricity kicks back on, like it kicked on for a second. I was like, oh, my clock radio must have hit a channel or something. And, I went back to what I was doing and I stopped and went, I don't have a clock radio. I unplugged that thing like a year ago and I used my cell phone for an alarm. And it never happened again. But I heard a guy talking at the foot of my bed like he was talking to me.
Wow.
And I don't know what else it could have been. I mean, I don't know. There was nothing really over there that could have said, hey, I think, and then have gone away, because there was no radio, there was no phone, there was no computer. I mean, there was just nothing over there that could have. My computer was actually over there, but my computer was unplugged from the wall because I was afraid it was going to get hit by lightning. So I don't know what it was, but my dog reacted to it. He heard it too. So maybe.
Well, I can tell you what it sounds like when your house gets hit by lightning.
Oh, really?
It's a big, huge bang. Sounds like somebody took a hammer. No, sounds like somebody took a sledgehammer and hit the side of the house and broke the frame.
Dang.
And then you smell smoke.
I'm sure. But was it more paranormally active? Could you tell?
I was too scared. Lightning hit the house.
Yeah.
I can tell you, we hauled ass out of here.
There was a friend of mine, Aaron. He listens to the show a lot. The tornadoes, the wind was so strong that it blew one of the really, really old, huge trees down in their yard, and it hit their house. And his sister was home, and she about had a heart attack because she thought a tornado had hit the house. She said it shook everything. It moved the house like a half an inch on the foundation or something like that.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, it was huge. They had to cut it down and redo the roof and all kinds of stuff. But it's not fun, I can tell you that. But have you ever been in a storm where there was more paranormal energy, Spring?
Every time that I've ever gone to, like a reading or gave a reading, It's never been raining. There was one time where I went to this group that I used to belong to. I would drive up to the northern part of Maryland at Sugarloaf Mountain, and the lady there would have an evening with channeling, and she was a very good channel. I went there one night, and there was a thunderstorm right as we started to get started, and she said, "We have to wait till the storm goes by. I won't do this. I won't channel during a thunderstorm." And she never really explained why. So that's my only experience. I've done readings where it's been raining outside, but not a thunderstorm.
Do you see more during a thunderstorm or lightning or anything? Do you see more ghosts or spirits or anything like that?
Well, now that's an interesting question, because the way our bedroom, we got this big, huge window in the bedroom, and unfortunately, it doesn't look out over the lake. It looks out over like the forest side of the house. Our house is completely surrounded by trees. So the front and the side is really the big foresty place, where trees are like only, 5-7 feet away from the house. So the thunderstorms we have when we have lightning go off, in between lightning strikes or when the sky lights up, I'll see, I don't know what to call them. Well, I know what I call them, but I see like these little ball-y flashes of colored light. Like a flash of red or yellow or green, sometimes a baby blue. And I always, the kids usually in the bedroom when the thunderstorm's going off, and I say, well, there's a fairy. So I think the fairies come inside.
That's possible. They don't want to get wet.
There you go. But that's really the only thing I've ever noticed.
Yeah, that was the biggest storm I think I've ever been in, was when those tornadoes hit. And I kind of felt bad afterwards because I was bored as all get out because there was no power. I wasn't aware of how bad the storms were because I wasn't paying any attention to the weather. All I knew was that my boss said, stay home, find cover. There are tornadoes in your area. I was like, okay. And that was pretty much it. And then, that night after they finally went away, I think we eventually got power back in the apartments. Maybe we didn't until the next day. I don't remember. But I had decided I was going to go try to find something to eat because there was nothing at the apartment to eat and the electricity had been off. I didn't want a chance eating anything in my refrigerator. And I left, and Hickson was all black because they had no power. And I found out later that tornadoes had killed a whole bunch of people in our area. It just had just decimated parts of Georgia. I mean, you could look at it and tell a tornado had been through there and had killed whole families. I mean, they were just gone. And it was horrible, and I kind of felt bad afterwards because I was laying in bed bored because that was the only thing I had to do. And I didn't realize how bad it truly was until later. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so final thoughts before we move on to Truth or Tale.
Oh, real quick before we do that, tomorrow is Paranormal Day.
Woohoo! Paranormal Day.
So, yeah, just go celebrate Paranormal Day. I don't know why. And, the Days of the Year website says, Paranormal Day is a day for all those who believe in paranormal activity to share experiences all around the world. At the very least, it's a great excuse to catch up with friends and watch a scary movie.
It's awesome. So, everyone celebrate. The day after that is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Yeah.
And we are celebrating at work because we are all Star Wars geeks. And and I mistold you guys something last week. Lobaka was not Chewbacca's son. Somewhere I read it was. He is one. I think in one version he is Chewbacca's son. Chewbacca's son was Lumpy something or other. Because in the holiday special, they call him Lumpy. It was Itchy, Lumpy, and I think Mala was his wife or something like that. It's like, I don't remember what it stands for, but it's like Itchy, Karabaka, Guka, Buka, Shuka. I don't remember. Anyway. But Lumpy is Lumpy Karu or Lumpy Waru or something like that is his son's name. I went and looked it up because I remember reading about Lobaka. Lobaka was one of the ones that became a Jedi. He was one of the only Wookiee Jedi that came around, and he was, this is now, I guess, not canon because he was a part of the Jason and Jaina, or whatever the twins' names were
twins,
for
yeah.
Han and Leia's twins. He was one of the Jedi that helped protect them, and now that's no longer canon. So whatever.
I just throw all those books out. It's over.
Pretty much. Oh, and just for anyone that's curious, I think someone has stated that Rey's parents will not be in the next movie, hinting that Luke Skywalker is not her father.
It's not really your father.
So we'll see. I think they're lying. Anyway, on to Truth or Tale. If you're not familiar with this game, it's basically where I have 3 stories that I'm going to read. You have to decide if it's crazy enough to be true or just so stupid that I made it up. And honestly, sometimes you cannot tell the difference. So, numero uno. That's Swahili for we're going to start now. So, there is a form of bacteria that can make its own ice. Truth or tale?
What?
There is a form of bacteria that can make its own ice. Truth or tale? Or in the South, make its own ice. If you're ever wondering how that's pronounced.
So if we make our own heat, why couldn't something make its own cold? I'm going true.
I'm going to say true too, but I'll tell you after you say if we're right or wrong.
Okay. That is the truth.
I saw an article this week about a beetle bug that uses, you know how beetles spray as their defense mechanism? This one sprays, you know, what's that cold stuff that you put your hand in it and you're like automatically going to lose your hand?
Oh,
Freon?
no.
No, not.
It's,
Evil would know.
I can't think
How
of
come
it.
he's not listening?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Well, that stuff. Okay, go ahead with your story.
Yeah, okay. The next time you're at a picnic or backyard barbecue and the host reveals that there's no more ice to keep the beer cold, you can be a hero by handing over a petri dish filled with a bacteria that makes its own ice. Okay, it has to be a pretty big petri dish and a lot of bacteria, but you want to be a hero, don't you? The bacteria is Pseudomonas syringae, a plant-killing pathogen that makes frost even in warm weather to destroy the leaves on crops. Until recently, the way it does this was unexplained, but that hasn't stopped ski resort owners from harvesting the bacteria and using it to make artificial snow. A new report in Science Advances details recent research that has finally unlocked the secret of these icy killers. Scientists at the Max Planck Institute of Polymer Research in Mainz, Germany, studied the interaction between the bacteria and water molecules using a process called some-frequency generation spectroscopy. This laser technique detected proteins in the cell membrane of Pseudomonas syringae that realign the position of water molecules so that they're in a lattice array as they are in ice. P. syringae then vibrates it to remove the heat from the latticed water molecules, and the end result is tiny cubes of ice. The bacteria protects itself from freezing on its own ice cooler with other proteins that act as antifreeze. On a plant, this ice-making process damages leaves and stems, allowing P. syringae to spread many diseases among fruit trees, vegetables, and flowers, and spread it does. The bacteria covers the plant and is found in soil as well as in lower parts of the atmosphere. In fact, it uses clouds to spread itself by forming ice crystals which form rain, which falls onto plants where the bacteria forms ice crystals. You get the idea. This ability to form rain may one day make P. syringae a hero too, and not just at picnics or ski resorts. The researchers are looking at ways to plant crops that produce a lot of P. syringae and put them in areas that need rain or in locations where wind patterns will pick them up and move them over drought-stricken areas. Sounds like an all-natural cloud seeding process. What about the warm beer? Leave the P. syringae to help make rain and just bring an extra bag of ice.
Wow.
That was a long one.
That is crazy.
Yep. All right, so number 2, a brainless slime mold has been found to be capable of learning. And no, we are not talking about Congress. A brainless slime mold has been found to be capable of learning? Truth or tale?
Brainless?
Because we know Congress is not capable of learning.
But they are a slime mold.
And they're brainless.
Gosh, I think I'll go true.
I'm going to say false.
Yeah, and Evil in the chat room answered our question, liquid nitrogen.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
See,
what'd you both
smart
say?
like that.
What'd you both say for the answer?
I'm going true.
I went false.
Okay, so one truth, one tale. That is the truth. Mysterious Universe brings you the latest news and podcasts covering the strange, extraordinary, weird, wonderful, and everything in between. Well, that didn't help me at all. I thought it actually had the story behind this, but I guess it's a podcast on it. But it's the truth regardless. Let me see if I can get to the original.
Los Angeles Times. Just a quick Google search for slime mold.
You read it then.
You don't need a brain to learn something new, not if you're a slime mold anyway. Scientists who watched Fusarium polycephalum, you're better at this than I am, polycephalum search for food found that the slime mold could ignore certain chemical threats. The findings described in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B contradict the idea that learning always requires neurons and may shed light on the early evolution of learning in living things. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I thought I had the story. I did not. Because I get it from a certain source, and I click a button, and it takes me to certain things. Anyway. All right. So number 3. A new study shows that half the males from Western Europe are descended from one man. Truth or tale? A new study shows that half the males from Western Europe are descended from one man. Truth or tale?
Well, yeah. True.
Half the males in all of Western Europe are descended from just one person, from one man.
I'm going to say false.
I'm going true. I'm sticking with it.
Okay. That is the truth.
Holy cow.
He had some strong genes.
Oh, he
that
had
guy.
something. A study done by Dr. Chris Tyler Smith, which was published in the Nature Genetics Journal, shows that about half of the men from Western Europe have descended from one man alone. According to the study, this man was thought to be a king. The king, who is not known, but there is proof that he exists by the research that was done, had a lot of power in the country since he was responsible for the new technology that was brought on during this time, which was about 50,000 to 55,000 years ago. New technology? Really? What did he discover? Leaves? Anyway, according to The Week, he is thought to have been one of the earliest people to take power in Europe right after the Stone Age. These new technologies that had advanced back then were controlled by this one king. Although no one knows who he was, the research that was done shows that he had to have existed due to the genetic variation in today's European male population. Because of this study that was done, it is now believed that at least 50% of the male population is a descendant of his. According to Dr. Chris Tyler Smith, in Europe, there was huge population expansion in just a few generations. Genetics can't tell us why it happened, but we know that a tiny number of elite males were controlling reproduction and dominating the population. He also said half of the Western European population is descended from just one man. We can only speculate as to what happened. Well, we know what happened. The best explanation is that they may have resulted from advances in technology that could be controlled by small groups of men. According to the report, taking the data found by the 1000 Genomes Project, the Y chromosomes from 1,200 men from 26 different populations from around the world showed that as the chromosome was passed down the male line, the mutations revealed how the men were linked to one another. This allowed the researchers to go back through the different generations. These findings also go along with the theory that humans came from Africa, since an origin of the Y chromosome was found in Africa, while there was a huge expansion of humans in Europe and Asia around 50 to 55,000 years ago, just around the time when humans were supposed to have started migrating out.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
so there's that. But unfortunately, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Enigma Project. Thanks to everyone who listened. We appreciate it. Join us next Monday when our topic will be Ghost Brothers, and we will be talking about the Delta Queen episode that Sushi and I star on. You're welcome.
Star.
Star, that is correct. We make
Whatever.
that episode. But anyway, we'll talk about more about that next week. Please watch it Friday night on Destination America, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Not sure what time that is your time, but you guys can look that up. We will be talking about it next Monday. Have a great Monday, great rest of the week, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.